Mexicans. You're gonna see because I had a friend of mine who was actually their family was from Honduras. And for years, one of my family members would be like, "They're Honduran. They're not Mexican. They're Honduran. Don't get them mixed up." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh yeah, Mexicans. Well, I'm not talking about everyone, but Mexicans have like a thing for Central Americans.
Yeah, for Central Americans, where
I don't know, it's if they don't like each other that much.
And man, see, it is kind of controversial, but it is kind of true because that happens on one side of the world where it's in Central America where people are going to be like, we don't like you even though we're literally around each other, right?
Yeah.
You know where else that happens on the other side of the world? China.
With
certain, like, it's kind of said that certain Asian ethnic groups, they don't align themselves with certain other ethnic groups.
The Japanese, the Chinese.
Yeah. Or, actually, like, I've heard on a podcast recently, on Joe Rogan's podcast with a woman, Yeonmi, I don't want to butcher her name, Miss Park. She was actually escaped from North Korea. She was someone from
I think I've seen that podcast.
Yeah. And it's so weird how there was one thing that tripped me out, and the one thing that tripped me out was, well, one, I've heard a joke before that certain Asians don't like other Asians because of they would just point at their skin, be like, "Sir, there's like a certain percentage where they're light or dark." It's fucked up. It's
there's like how it used to be in
yeah.
Or like there's this hierarchy of skin color in Asian cultures.
Yeah, and then here's the one thing that tripped me out, what she said during that podcast. It tripped me out that they can tell they're North Koreans and they're actually a little prejudiced against them, and the way they can tell is by their height. And their
because they're not malnourished.
Because they're malnourished, and they can't help that because they're
their regime.
Their regime, simply, right? And so it's crazy that there's enough prejudice on other people's skin. Like, you look different, I look different, everybody looks different, but on their height,
it's different.
It's different. Like, well,
like, is it that the South Koreans don't like the North Koreans? Well, I doubt it. I feel like they feel bad for them.
Yes and
no. I feel like they just know, he's North Korean.
Yeah. I think there's still some prejudice somewhere there, but they're also where a lot of them go. I mean, and now it's inescapable. From what I've heard, it's inescapable, North Korea.
Oh yeah,
but
they shoot you down if they find you. And, well, they don't. If you try to escape and you're almost escaping.
Yeah,
they shoot you down, and if they manage to catch you, they punish you and your 3 generations of your family. It's
family and all that, and then they got landmines. They got all these different things. Then you have to go through harsh weather conditions. Like, the harshest one I heard was on that same podcast was they went through a desert that was like minus 10 degrees.
There's deserts? What do you mean deserts?
Or like this.
Is it like snow deserts?
I don't really remember, but I know they said it was like this desert, this area, and it was like minus 10 degrees. And they had like a group with them, like little, like at least 3 men, the rest are women or children, and they got a baby with them. And they're going in minus 10 degree weather. Crazy. And like, I'm not crazy enough, they can't stop. They have to constantly move, because if you stop,
they're gonna catch you, bro.
No.
What do you mean?
The cold will catch you.
Because like if you keep running, your body keeps warm.
Yeah, you'll freeze to death if you stop moving. So they had to.
That's so wild.
That is wild. So they're trying to keep moving. They're like, which way are we going? There is no desert. I mean, you'll get lost in the desert. You'll be like,
you're just seeing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's easy to go in like a circle. But then when they had the baby, they're like waking it up constantly.
But what, was he like passing out, or what do you mean?
Like falling asleep, passing out, because I doubt a baby's gonna handle that kind of condition. Yeah. But they're rubbing them awake, keeping them awake, making sure. Like, it's crazy.
That's horrible. Well, it's horrible that they even have to do that just
to escape. And the fact that there's probably a little bit of prejudice, like with some South Koreans against North Koreans or North Koreans against South Koreans, it's crazy because that's where they go for salvation. Mm-hmm. Essentially, they want to go somewhere else where, and it's not even the best salvation either, because I only know the perspective from one person who told their story, but the lady, she explained how as soon as she got there, she was sold into like sex trafficking. Her and her mother.
And South Korea. This was South Korea, right?
Yeah. They got there, and then I think somewhere down the line, she ended up making it to China only because I think it was along the lines of she was a virgin. She was a virgin still, so that was pretty rare with a bunch of women. So being a virgin was actually you're a higher thing to buy. You're a more priced to buy, and it's really fucked up. And she got let off because a guy was nice. He wanted her. He paid for it. He ended up getting with her. Fucked up enough, but he said, "You're a virgin. That's worth enough. I also have been with your mother, but I want to help you find your mother." You are tripping. You are tripping.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, it's so messed up, but at the same time, he helped him out. It's
yeah.
Like, but like, I don't want to say anything, but it's like, it would be controversial, but like, I don't know, like, you lose some, but like, you escape North Korea.
Yeah, it's the sad.
But it's it's very traumatizing.
Yeah, though. It is. And the thing was, I didn't watch it. I would like listen to it in my car and whatnot. And the entire time, she sounded like she's about to cry, but she didn't cry until the very end. It's because she in North Korea as well. They're very not trained, but they see trauma every day from bodies in the streets.
They're desensitized.
They're desensitized to the fullest extent. Yeah. So this happening, she was probably just stone-faced for a lot of the time. But after getting help, they ended up making it to China, and then she learned about... She didn't even know about oppression. That was one thing that took me out.
So you went from North Korea to China.
Well, North Korea to South Korea, then to China, I believe.
That's weird.
It is weird, but that's where she needed to go because certain governments weren't, the best place to stay, right? And then she ended up having to learn because one thing she said was, people aren't oppressed if they don't know they're being oppressed. If you know you're oppressed, then you're not oppressed anymore.
Yeah, it's because the people in North Korea think that their leader is literally a god.
Yeah, and imagine knowing that. So she was, and that's another thing, the age. Their ages are so weird. The way they were aged is like as soon as you were born, you're already 1 year old.
Is that how they...
Yeah, and they go marked by their calendar years.
I think that's why they have, they're confused on Kim Jong-un's age.
Yeah.
They say it's either 33 or 34.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's because, and it depends on the person. Like, a good example, Yeonmi Park gave was, someone was born, say, on December 31st, right? And then the calendar
So he's 2 years old the second day of his life.
Yeah, you're 2 years old the second day of your life, when really that baby is just a day old. Crazy. So...
I feel like that's how kids think.
Yeah.
There's a new year. I'm a year older.
Oh!
That's how I thought as a kid.
As a kid, you thought that? Yeah. I kind of thought that as well, but I was like, well...
Well, like the math, when you're 4 or 5, you're not good with math.
Oh, it's another year, so I must be another year.
Yeah.
Right? And then fucking... She was saying, I went through this when I was 13, when really she was actually 7 years old when she saw a lot of this crap happen to her, which was pretty messed up. But by that age, being desensitized and all that, it's crazy. And then after living her life for this X amount of years, she has to relearn what is freedom, what is free, what is democracy, what is this, what is that.
Social standards.
What's social standards? What's school? What's this? What's that? Like, freedom to her was putting on jeans.
That's so sad. It's
so crazy. And there's not a lot people can do about it except probably just spread awareness about it. Because they're allegedly, and like I said, I heard it from one podcast, but like you hear stories all the times about malnourishment, concentration camps, this, and this. Spreading awareness about it, and the fact that they're kind of not uphold, or I don't know how you would word it, but like the Chinese government, some of the Chinese government supports them. That's why they're like kind of untouchable. So like, what is there to do when you have two whole governments and everything in between there? There's not much you can do with one country. You'd have to get like the world involved.
Yeah.
Right? And it's wild. It's wild to say the least. We started going off about North Korea over here.
How did we even start that conversation?
I have no clue.
We were talking about Mexico, but something about Mexico, but like I forgot.
I don't know how we got to North Korea, but God, man.